Okay.
Okay, now the meeting is starting.
Cool. We've got our Arti meeting for the 18th of August. Just going to start with a quick update. Then we're going to spend the rest of the time seeing about brainstorming user stories, use cases, and API needs, especially for the early stages of Arti. So in the last couple of weeks, we've been spending a lot of time working on interviewing people who have applied for the REST programming jobs. And I've been spending most of my programming time finishing up the circuit timeout stuff. That was harder than I expected because there was a lot of back-end things that needed to get solved in order to call it done, but I think we can finally call that part done now. Next major step in Arti is going to be to get guard nodes working. In parallel, David is working on stream isolation APIs and trying to get those to support more of the use cases that Tor supports now. I think we're still on track to finish our first milestone in mid-October.
Perfect. Is this up to date, the board that we have? This is what David is working on. I don't see the guard. I don't see the guard stuff here, but
I think 150 is a doing. Guard nodes, you scrolled right on past it. That should be next. I'll move that into next.
Oh, this one. Okay, so let's update this for the next 2 weeks then. Okay, and this is a 40 hours estimation. Okay, and this is what you're going to be working on for the next 2 weeks. Implement guard nodes.
Probably, yeah. It might take longer than that. I'm not absolutely certain.
That's okay. And there are 2 open tickets here. One that you open about technical debt, and this other one that you also open.
Yeah, that one. That one should go into backlog because do it. Maybe reactor. I think that one's backlog too.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm adding it at the bottom then. Anyway, okay. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. And those for the next 2 weeks is guards, guard nodes, and circuit isolation is what, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do you want to, I'm not sure if anybody else here have any other update, Shim or Mimex, about the last 2 weeks or yeah?
Nope, not really. I'm just kind of following along. I haven't had much time to spend on this until we work out the funding situation.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Do you want to chat a little about this work that Alex and David started, Nick?
So I'm actually thinking that sure. The goal here is just to try to spend some time brainstorming about different API goals and requirements. It looks like David and Alex have taken an approach here where they sort of went kind of user by user based on what are their needs, what APIs do they need specifically.
Nice.
I'm thinking that we might try to drill down into some of these, try to get, maybe talk a little bit about brainstorming user stories, trying to, or like possibly doing an independent set of discussions for what exactly the APIs need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly we can do it here, possibly we can combine when we're done. I've started a new section at the bottom of the document for that. How do you think we should do this, Gaba?
Okay, because the goal of this is for it to lead many of the tickets that are working for this first version, for the 001, or how? What is the goal of this?
Good question. So 001, we're not required to do a stable API, but it would be nice if we got the API right and we made the system usable.
Yep.
So And
when
of course, we won't
API.
have the APIs for all the features that we haven't implemented yet. So onion services aren't going to go in here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it would also be neat to make sure that we're
Yeah, my question is for when is needed these user stories, when is like we are, how we, yeah.
I think if we have stuff sooner, then we can use them to get the APIs that we build to be good sooner. If we have them later, then we can get them to be useful later. I think if we had like a draft of a final set of user stories in October or November, that would be perfect for our next milestone. But
okay,
it wouldn't be so bad if we were adding new stories later on, and it wouldn't be so bad if we had a set of stories on the earlier side. I'm also not certain that user stories are exactly what we need here. I think we should experiment with different approaches to defining what we need out of our APIs and just work with whatever and see whatever works best for defining good APIs.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the way to go here is like to to have like a discussion one by one and totally iron out what is that is needed for the specific API. No, this is just a draft. Yeah, one thing we could do, I'm not sure if like Alex and David are connecting with these the different users of like this API, because that could be an option. Like finish drafting this and then do a call out, no, for people to give feedback on this.
Mm. You mean extend just the list of things that we think everybody needs, and then just reach out to everyone we can think of internally and externally and say, hey, what APIs do you need? What do you need to be able to do with this?
Yeah, start with the Tor browser because internally, and then connect with. It could even be like once we have a draft of this, like could be a Tor dev mail, you know, with all the user stories, and said, okay, we are collecting feedback. What is that we are missing from here?
Mm.
And then we decide, based on the feedback, we decide what we incorporate or what we don't incorporate. No. Yeah, we need to include the Guardian project here too.
So what would it be useful to do with our time collaboratively during this meeting, do you think? I'm thinking we could like brainstorm user profiles or
yeah. But for this, I think for this we need the stakeholders here. I mean, it's not just you and me and him and Mimex. No, maybe it's like saying, okay, we send the list. This is what we're doing. This is give feedback, and the next public meeting for Arti will be this day, and we are going to discuss in that meeting these API use cases, user stories. I mean, and that's where we discuss it with people. No, we need stakeholders for this.
Okay, in that case, if you think that's right, then let's take a step back and try to brainstorm what kind of stakeholders we need, what user profiles we want to support, and what properties are essential for those, so that we get the right people invited and we solicit their opinions.
Yeah, I think here is fine. Like people mention all the ones using it. I think we also need the Guardian project here because they are using. We need the people that we are using Arti already. The people from Europe doing the COVID app. I think those would be the stakeholders for this, no?
Okay, but I'm asking. So you think it's not worthwhile to make any kind of user profiles or look for more stakeholders?
User personas, you mean?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think it is. That's what. Yes, I think it is.
Maybe let's do that down at the bottom of the document then.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, user personas, actually, user profiles of user personas are different than the stakeholders, no? The stakeholders here, what I'm saying is like the people that are going to be using the SPI. All the people here, that the developers are here that you mentioned, plus the Guardian project ones, no? That you got here.
So when we discussed this meeting earlier, we discussed it specifically as a brainstorming thing and a brainstorming opportunity. So I think like if we can't brainstorm user stories and we can't brainstorm APIs, then user personas would be better.
Yeah, we can brainstorm. Yeah, we can brainstorm them, but we need other people on this meeting for this.
So are you proposing that we stop this meeting now? And
I propose that we stop this discussion, and the next step here would be to like finish with David and Alex this draft, and then send a mail to TordF with this how you say user stories. Okay. With user stories and invite people for stakeholders specifically to. We can send it specifically to the ones in this pad. To next Arti meeting to discuss user stories, to brainstorm user stories.
Okay.
Are the ones we have. Unless I'm missing something here, because this is the first time
When we announced this meeting, we discussed like changing the time for it and doing it. What I said, and everybody was okay with that at the time, was let me look exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry because I was not in the last Arti meeting. Remember?
This was not the last Arti meeting. We discussed this on Monday, and you were there. This week we'll be brainstorming API ideas, use cases, and user stories.
I'm so sorry, I totally missed that. Yeah.
And I'd like to actually. Ooh, yeah, that's a good thing. We can like go through the big list of projects.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So
like, let's actually. I mean, if you don't want to do that, or you don't think that's something useful for you to do right now, then. Maybe yeah, I'm sorry. I totally missed that part about we were going to discuss this here. Otherwise, I would have reached out to people to invite them to the meeting today. So sorry. Yeah. Let's try to see what we can do with the people that we have. Okay. And see how far we get. Okay. Okay. Okay, you want to go through these user stories then? Maybe. I don't know. What do you think would be productive? Sure. What do you think we can most productively do with folks we have? Is what I've been asking. Yeah, I think that's it. That would be fine. It's just yeah, the four of us. Okay, the first one. Can you go through the users, the user stories here and explain a little? I'm just reading this now for the first time. Yeah. Most of these aren't user stories at all. Yeah, these aren't user stories. It's an API for looking up DNS entries via. It seems like it's a bunch of requirements. No, we need authenticated onion services. Yeah, right, onion service. Yeah, it's kind of like a list of features that they can think of that different parties would need. Okay, yeah, this needs a little more work. Let's do it outside the meeting, and then we call for specifically discussing this for the next meeting. It's not that we will need this specific work in the next 2 weeks, because we can wait one more meeting, right? And I can coordinate bringing stakeholders here and discussing user stories. We can work on this a little more. If we don't, okay, in that case, what can we discuss usefully at this meeting? Like the planning for the next 2 weeks, and the status of what you all have been working on, no? And if there's any blocker, that's what this meeting is about specifically for. Okay, so, all right. Well, it sounds like we did that. So let's plan for our next meeting in 2 weeks. Can I talk with just you after the meeting, Gaba?
Sure, that's fine.
All right.
I will stop the recording.
Right.
Unless Shim, Mimex, I'm not sure if you have anything else.
No.
Perfect. Thank you.